On Fox and Friends, they decided to mock environmental regulations, and the host Clayton Morris gave us a classic facepalm moment.
The most costly regulation in U.S. history is in this big pile of regulations here at the end of the year, and it has to do with the ozone layer. The ozone layer is now back in the forefront. Remember we were hearing about the ozone layer for so many years? Well, the EPA came out in 2007 and said, you know what? Ozone exposure, not a big deal. We can find no evidence that it has adverse effects. Well, the Obama administration has dug through and tried to find people that say that ozone still is bad for you, and they're going to push through this ozone regulation, the costliest in American history.
Is this the coal ash regulation that we're talking about?
That's another one.
And it's going to cost $20 billion to the American people.
Wow.
Just one regulation.
Just when you thought you were over-regulated already.
Well,
I haven't heard ozone layer in forever.
I know. Or you want to bring back acid rain? Remember acid rain?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to acid rain? It was ruining cars. Whatever happened with that?
Regulation worked is what happened with that. Whatever happened to acid rain? I mean, these guys act like we need regulations, but then there was acid rain. That's gone, right? I wonder why. Because of regulation. Quote, beginning in 1980, Congress began passing laws like the Acid Deposition Act. President George H.W. Bush amended the Clean Air Act during his term, and the EPA issued the Clean Air Interstate Rule under President George W. Bush. More than 20 years after the government began regulating acid rain, the EPA estimated that 2009 sulfur dioxide levels were cut to about 1/3 of what they were in 1990. Okay, another thing is they implemented this cap-and-trade-like system for the pollution that led to acid rain. And it worked. And you know what the Democratic proposal is to cut certain kinds of pollution and to limit global warming today and limit carbon emissions? Cap-and-trade. So another issue where the Democrats copied the old Republican idea, and the Republicans now are against their own ideas. And, I mean, it's amazing how flippant they are and how dismissive they are and how condescending they are when they have no fucking clue what they're talking about. The government says we need regulation, but what happened to acid rain, bitches? Regulation happened to it. That's why it's not here anymore. It's a perfect example of regulation working, slapstick. God, they're so sad. And they're so amazing. And the final thing I'll say about this is when they bring up, this is a classic Fox News trick, is that when they talk about certain forms of regulation, they'll always mention, and they do this with immigration too, for example, and with Obamacare. What they do is they'll bring up the cost of it without calculating the benefits of it as well. So like for immigration, what they'll do is they'll calculate how much money immigrants end up taking in social services and tax dollars and stuff like that. But they don't count how much in taxes immigrants will pay if they become citizens. So they give you a one-sided picture which doesn't include half of the mathematical equation. They just focus on what they take and not on what they give. It's the same thing when they talk about environmental regulations. You know, they say that regulation will cost $20 billion. And what they're not mentioning is, oftentimes, especially with environmental regulation and anti-pollution regulations, you save a tremendous amount of money on healthcare costs. Because then people don't have lung issues anymore, and emphysema, and heart disease, and all the things associated with high levels of pollution, and you save a tremendous amount of money on the back end with healthcare. But they don't tell you the truth because they have an agenda. They're pushing that agenda through, so they'll twist the numbers and they'll manipulate it. And then they'll go out there and mock regulations and act like acid rain was cured through fairies.